Welcome to the Ensign Experience. I'm a co-host, Andrew LeBaron, along with my other co-host.
I'm Benson Ferris. We're excited to share with you our experiences and thoughts as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
You get to know us a little more as we go through different episodes of the Ensign Experience. We're going to be talking about topics such as doctrinal, temples,
Scriptures, church experiences, the culture, talks.
all sorts of fun stuff. And we're going to keep it lighthearted. There's going to be some really good subjects that we want to bring to you. We will be covering some really cool topics in General Conference. General Conference is coming up.
With an 101-year-old prophet.
I know, dude. He's amazing. It's amazing how much energy a man of that age can still have. But, you know, when you're called of God, you know, I think it's obvious that that's going to be inevitable.
We sustain him and the Lord sustains him.
It's going to be inevitable, man. And then some of the ideas that we have that we want to bring to you are top 10 temples that we just really admire. You know, all temples are great. They all perform the same works and ordinances inside, but we have preferences over style, design, architecture. We'll have other episodes in a format that we call verses. You know, would you rather have testimony meeting outside in a big pasture or still back in the chapel? I just made that one up, but
Sure.
that would actually be really cool.
I'm good with it. There's lots of options out there. Keep things loose.
Yeah.
Keep things fun.
So we'll have verses episodes. We'll have top 10s. And then we'll probably cover a little bit of some unique doctrine that we find maybe that doesn't get a whole lot of light. Maybe doctrine that we think is like really valuable or something that maybe we should focus more on that doesn't really get talked about much. Not fringe doctrine, not deep doctrine, but stuff that brings us closer to God. But
Of course. It's always the goal.
Yeah.
Never want to detract from that.
today we're actually talking about one of my favorite subjects, something that you've probably been asked this before in primary, or perhaps you've been asked this more recently. If you could go to dinner with any of your Book of Mormon heroes, who would it be and why?
And to be clear, we're not asking which one is the best chef. We're not asking which one makes the best food.
Who
right?
would make the best food? Sorry you brought it up.
There's so little references to food. Like Nephi mentions their food becoming sweet.
Yeah, man.
I don't
That's
think
what
that
I
was
was
purely
thinking.
his fault necessarily.
I was thinking that too. Maybe he had some secret Cajun spices in the back pocket.
Yeah, hard to know. I'd say they probably feel a little more settled before they probably got into recipe making and all of that.
And it wasn't sweet on his account. It was sweet because the Lord made it sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it wasn't even their doing.
But that's not the point. We're asking who would make a good guest? Who would you want to enjoy that camaraderie with?
Right.
Regardless of the food being partaken of.
Yeah. I'm going to go first on this one. My favorite character, but just my favorite character in the Book of Mormon, and it hasn't changed for a while. Sometimes some of my favorites change, is the brother of Jared. I love the brother of Jared. Mm-hmm. Also known as Mahonri Moriankum, or say that one 8 times fast. No, don't really.
Not a popular children's name anymore.
No. I actually had a elder in the mission field in one of our zones named Mahonri. He's from Mexico. Really good guy.
All right.
Mahonri Amaya. That was his last name, Amaya.
Very telling name. The person's a member of the church.
Yeah. I mean, people that were in Mexico probably had no idea what that meant. But so if I was to have a meal with any of the characters of the Book of Mormon, it's going to be the brother Jared. And the reason why is not only is he my favorite, I really want to ask him one question. Where did he get the idea that if God touched the stones, some stones that he would find, that they'd light up? I find that fascinating because he didn't have a radio. He didn't have a television. How did he just come up with pure imagination? 2000 BC, right? You know, I got a great idea. I'm going to go grab some stones from a mountain nearby. And I don't know where, and God's going to touch them. Well, first of all, he didn't know God was a humanoid.
Up until that point, he was guiding them in a cloud and all that.
I think naturally, we as humans, I'm making major assumptions here, but if you are talking to God and you know he's powerful, he's floating in this cloud, going wherever you need him to go, or he's guiding you wherever he needs you to be.
Of course.
He's probably going to talk to you in your language, and if he does, you probably have an assumption deep in your mind that he's just like you. Okay, how about you? What would be your? And we could probably go deeper into why. But I want to hear about yours. Who would you pick to have a meal with in the Book of Mormon?
Sure. First of all, I do have an issue with referring to them as characters.
Okay, my bad.
I do want.
They're not yeah. These
that
are
almost
not characters.
Leans away from it. I'm fine with it
These
either
are
way,
real prophets.
as long as people recognize
Yes.
it. A little bit of a technicality there on my part, but I was really thinking about this a lot. I think I have to go with Alma the Younger, the
Good choice, man.
author of the biggest book, although he only wrote like the first half of it.
63 chapters, you know.
Yeah. Although he definitely wrote only the first bit. He didn't write the latter 20 chapters, whatever. I think that should have been a separate book, but they didn't ask me, and that's totally fine. Yeah, he had so many amazing experiences. His conversion, growing up in the church, but then rebelling against it. His amazing missionary experiences of finding Amulek, being visited by an angel a second time and knowing it to be the same angel, tearing down the prison walls, converting Zeezrom again. But I feel like his whole story is great. He had multiple wars he involved in. I like his conflict with Amlici toward the beginning in chapter 2, the conflict with Nahor and Korihor later on.
Nahor or Nehor?
Yeah, so you got multiple antichrists that he takes on, and he himself starting out as an antichrist, and then meeting up with his friends, the Sons of Mosiah again, having that reunion, conquering the Zormite, not conquering, but their mission there to
bring them
learn
back
all
to
about these people after they trample Korihor. And then, of course, his preaching to his own sons before passing on the plates. And finally, being a little bit part of the battles. I love the story of where Captain Moroni needs help in their battles. And he asks Alma where to go to find them. You're never going to see that nowadays of some military leader asking the president of the church, hey, could you pray and tell us where we should send our troops?
I love it.
During this battle, but that's exactly what they do.
Probably what we all should be doing.
Yeah, that's an amazing
Trump,
idea
this is
of
a message
seeing.
to you. You need a little bit more spiritual guidance. Call President Nelson.
I think it's a great message that regardless of what we're dealing with, the prophet, the priest of authority can be helpful to it. And then finally, how we don't really know the end of his life. It says that the word went abroad that he was translated and taken up like Moses. Very possible, of course, but then who knows? He could have been eaten by wild beasts or captured by Lamanites or whatever sort of thing.
Translated.
Pretty interesting
Totally
to hear
translated.
the end of his story. Though it does matter the parameters of this question. Are we simply asking to have an angelic resurrected being come and eat with us, or are we transporting
in their
him
prime,
from
their earthly,
or are we bringing him from his time, and therefore he doesn't even know how his story ends? Who knows? But that's a technicality that we don't need to fully.
I think that matters because there's some people that I would want to hang out with after they resurrected. Probably didn't want to know them too much while they were in their earthly
I don't think
life.
there's that much we know about Mahana and Moriankumar after they call their king.
Okay, so honest question I have to ask you. Are you going to get a little nervous when you see your Book of Mormon hero
Of course.
after this life and you see him, wherever that segment might be, whether it's in the celestial glory, maybe we're, hanging out on the in-between.
See, immortality, sure, I've had moments of being starstruck when next to celebrity, hero, that sort of stuff. But I don't visualize that to be an eternal spiritual characteristic. I think God will overcome that for us and help us to have clarity and peace and
I'm going to be nervous.
a calm demeanor to us.
Just going to come out and say it. I would be so nervous. I respect, obviously, Brother Jared. I respect Nephi, of course.
Gotta.
These guys. What would you say to them? Like, hey, I read about you, Nephi. I read about you, Nephi, a lot more than I read about you, Mahanrai. Because I've started the Book of Mormon many, many times. I've read First Nephi hundreds of times. The Ensign experience will cover all sorts of fun, doctrinal or cultural or really spiritual subjects. And we want to keep this lighthearted. We want to keep this open. We want to keep this an open forum where you can come in and say what you think.
I didn't know your opinion about a lot of this, but it's always
I know
interesting to engage in
pretty
this stuff.
cool. It's like we're actually learning more about each other's opinion on some things that we had no idea about.
Of course.
Which is cool. We were talking about favorite or ranking favorite Book of Mormon heroes or leaders in the Book of Mormon and
Figures.
Figures. Thank you. I'm looking for the right word.
Yeah. I don't have a big issue with them being called characters.
Not
I just want to make
characters.
sure that in the right light.
Sure.
If I'm talking to people who are not believers of it, it can seem derogatory and demeaning
Sure.
and like you're treating it as some work of fiction when I want to respect it as the book of scripture that is.
Sure. No problem. So he prefers Alma the Younger over Alma the Older.
Yeah, seems like an interesting person. There's tons of them that'd be wonderful to interact with.
Right. And I just think Alma the Older would just be a really fun character to go grab a bite with. Anyways, both are great. I'm sure that we just later on switch and have a meal with the other.
Thank you for watching the Ensign Experience. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Who was the best investor in the Bible?
In the whole Bible?
Yeah.
Old and New Testament?
It was the daughter of the Pharaoh because she went down to the bank and pulled out a little profit.
I've not heard that one.
Well, now you have.
How have I been on this planet so long and I heard that one?
You do a lot of investing work. Maybe you can
I
throw that in
know,
at some point.
As an investor and I work with investors, I've not heard that one.
Good.
Gosh, that's funny.